Hey, good morning everybody online. This is Blind Justice on the streets of Aberdeen, Washington. We're sitting outside of the City Hall again on day 40 of our peaceful protests. Resting is not a crime. And anyone that's coming to this channel late, resting is not a crime for a reason, because the City Council passed 41 days ago a ordinance that says that basically resting is a crime. The ordinance specifically says sitting or lying down on public sidewalks in the downtown area between 6 a.m. and 11 p.m. Is now illegal here in the city. So those are the two positions that human beings take when they rest, either sitting or lying. And so they've criminalized resting in the city. There aren't any other specified behaviors going on with those two positions, body positions, in the ordinance, even though some of the council people and the mayor have said its behaviors are targeting, and they haven't specified what other behaviors other than sitting or lying. I think Tawny may have said some things during our interview, his long interview here, early on in this process. She said maybe drinking in public and being loud, and I asked her if she'd ever been to a bar, right? So they kind of invalidated that, because you can drink in public at a bar and be loud at a bar, even on the sidewalk cafes here in town, right, which is on the sidewalk. So this kind of highlights the divided thinking, or double-minded think, or you're segregated, like just cognitive dissonance that's going on. And that's an interesting term. Maybe we can discuss that for a second. Cognitive dissonance. Well, if you're familiar with music theory, there's resonance, right? And there's dissonance. So things that resonate, things that have resonance, would be instruments that, or even vocals, any kind of sound that harmonizes and synthesizes together to blend in a palatable manner, I guess. It's poor adjective, but it's pleasant to the ear, would be resonant. There's resonant frequencies in rooms. You can find a resonant pitch, right? If you probably experienced this, walked into a room. I know the state capitol in Texas, the Capitol building is built, and a lot of Capitol buildings have this kind of same construction where it's like circular. And so there's a center point in the room you can stand in or sit in, and you can whisper, right? And you can hear it resonate. It bounces off, it reverberates off of the thing. But you can find a pitch. Once you find that resonant pitch, then that really carries in the room, and it fills the whole room, right? So you can do this in your bathroom. You can do this in any room, really, and find a resonant pitch. There's another cool spot in town, actually, in Aberdeen, on the west side of Walmart. So just behind the Walmart, there's a trail, and then on the west side of it, so on the river side, there's a little construction, I don't know, stone and cement thing. There's a circle, and it's slightly declined, I think depressed towards the center. So I think that's how it goes. I think it elevates a little bit towards small grade, going towards the edge. I could be mistaken on that, but the harmonics of it are pretty cool. So if you ever get a chance to go to that spot and stand or sit, you can whisper, and you can hear your voice like reverberate off of the little barrier, off the little wall there. So then you can find even a resonant pitch just off of that, even a semi-open construction. So that's resonance. And then dissonance is kind of the opposite of that. So it's pitches that don't harmonize, that don't synthesize, that kind of are in conflict, right? So what's really neat is there's a TED Talk, maybe I can find a link or have somebody find a link for it. There's a TED Talk where a music professor partnered with some cancer researchers and found some frequencies that they shot from different locations outside of cells, or outside of a petri dish. They had cancer cells in a dish, and they shot different harmonic frequencies at these cancer cells. I'm not doing it justice. The guy does a great job in his talk. But basically, they found once they combine these frequencies, it destroyed the cancer cell and didn't harm any of their tissue. So they created this harmonic dissonance, right, where they shot them together. When those two frequencies matched, it became this chaotic, destructive force that disintegrated cancer cells. Really, really brilliant, really amazing stuff, and didn't harm the other viable tissue. So that's really cool. So dissonance is destructive or not palatable to the ear, right? It's chaotic, or you can get a better Webster's dictionary. I'm struggling to to give you a precise definition, but dissonance basically is in conflict, right? It's several things that are in conflict. When music, we're talking about different pitches, or different notes hit. They're in conflict with each other. Where resonance, they complement each other. There you go. That's a little bit more succinct. So then cognitive dissonance is in your cognition, in your thinking. You have a thought, right? And then you have another thought, and you're unaware that those two thoughts are opposed, that they are in conflict, that they don't harmonize, right? But you hold both thoughts in your mind, and you perceive the world that way. So, yeah, we run into cognitive dissonance a lot with people. And so that's one of the things we try to highlight. We try to turn on the light, so they say, hey, you have these two thoughts are actually in opposition. There's some areas of complement in the thought, in the middle ground, right? But by and large, they're in opposition. So one of the things we like to do when we talk with people and engage in conversation is point out that cognitive dissonance, such as, city officials coming to try to enforce a law that they don't know what law they're trying to enforce, right? Like, hey, you're trying to use force about a law. What law are you trying to use? And do you even know? Like, no, you don't know. Okay, there's another law that actually says that what we're doing is legal, what you're doing is illegal. So that's cognitive dissonance, right? That's an assumption that there's a power or authority bestowed on somebody because they're entitled, they have a title that they're wearing, is a destructive thought, right? It doesn't resonate with humanity, it doesn't resonate with the planet, with nature, with peace and prosperity, right? It's a destructive force. So we try to highlight those things and say, hey, let's find a peaceful resolution. Let's find a way we can resonate together and sing together in harmony and synthesize together and make this community beautiful, right? With all of our voices singing in harmony. And now I've kind of forgotten the topic that I put on this page because I got rambling on dissonance and resonance. Let's see, what did I say? Day 40. Open discussion. Yeah, okay, open discussion. So that's part of it, is in an open discussion, sometimes, if we keep with this resonance and dissonance idea, we just all start singing notes, right? Sometimes like, ooh, we're not harmonizing, but we can still sing, we can recognize, ooh, we're not in harmony, and maybe we can shift frequencies. Maybe if the group is liking the way that you're singing, we can shift to match your frequency, to come in resonance with you, right? That's part of an open discussion. If you're saying something and it's like, oh, that's probably more healthy for the community, that's probably more beneficial for everyone involved, we need to shift our thinking and our actions to match that, right? To come in resonance. Otherwise, we have dissonance. We have this clashing and banging against each other. So open discussion. The reason it was titled that, because that was, I think, some of the wording that Eric Larson used in the last meeting. He said, we want open dialogue, open discussion. And so on the heels of that, we emailed Eric some ideas for the city moving forward for housing and economic growth for the city, not just the city, but the county, like this area. And we may post that email here in a thread somewhere, or as a separate post. But we didn't hear anything back yet. And then I think a day or two after we sent it to Eric, we sent it to Jasmine, who's in the position of mayor over in Hoquiam. And we heard back, I think, within a day from her. It was a very short turnaround. She replied, and she's like, oh, that sounds interesting. I'm going to definitely give it some attention and look at it, research it, and then get back to you. Because we asked for thoughts. Okay. Both of them. We're like, we want to know your thoughts on these ideas, how we can implement them, or if they're not even viable. So we're trying to have the open discussion with as much people as we can. We want to bring people to the table so we can sing together, we can resonate together, we can make this place beautiful together with our collective voices. So we'll keep you posted, and have a great day, and peace to you, and love to you, and Deo Presto Liber.